So I'd like to explore for a few minutes the incredible innovations that you have done, because you trained in fine dining. I know you were chef at Maxime's, you were chef at Mama Maison, but you have really reinvented casual dining, and yet you brought your gourmet chef experience to casual dining. You've opened up the kitchen, you brought farm fresh ingredients into the casual dining experience. How did you come up with these ideas? How did you do it?
Well, you know, I did my apprenticeship in Austria, and then I moved to France and worked in some of the greatest restaurants like Beaumanière, Maxime's, Hotel de Paris, Monte Carlo, and so on. And then when I came to America, first I spent a year in Indianapolis, where for a chef it's really a no man's land, basically, you know, because half of the year you don't get any fresh ingredients, everything has to be flown in, so it was very difficult. Plus, we didn't really have a sophisticated clientele there either. You know, people didn't know how to eat with a knife and with a fork, most of them. They stuck the fork into the meat and then cut it all in pieces, put the fork down, and then ate it with the other hand. So it was a complete new experience for me. But a year later, I came to California, and I said, wow, this climate here is just like south of France, just like Italy. And then I found out, like through a friend, like the Chino farm in Rancho Santa Fe, which is 2 hours south of here. And I went there and I said, oh my God, look, they have 10 different varieties of tomatoes. They have vegetables just picked this morning, and you could smell them. I said, this is like my house. My mother was always a chef from the farm to the table, because she had a huge vegetable garden, and whenever she picked vegetables was to cook for the soup. She made salad, she picked 2 heads of salad, made a salad. So to me that was something completely natural. I grew up that way. So then I started to go down to the Chino farm and pick the vegetables and everything. And I remember in the old time, like I gave a box of strawberries to Johnny Carson, and he said, oh my God, I didn't know strawberries smelled like that. I said, well, if you get them from the farm and not in the supermarket, that's what you get. And little by little, people started to enjoy the taste, which was so much superior than they were getting somewhere else. So even people who we didn't associate with of being gourmet, of being really foodies, as we say today, they started to like the food because it was really fresh. I went to the fish market every morning, picked up the freshest fish, just like with the Japanese chefs. They needed it really fresh because they served it raw. I cooked it. I remember in the old time, when I started Spargo, like I tried to serve them tuna rare, and people yelled at me and said, how can you not cook a fish? It's not cooked. I made a salmon, for example, great Alaskan king salmon. I undercooked it, and people sent it back and said the fish is not cooked. So it was difficult at the beginning, until little by little we could explain people that the flavor and the taste is so much better when you undercook it, when you cook it less. I remember I cooked tuna on one side and put it on top of like a tomato basil vinaigrette, and underneath it wasn't cooked, and people looked at it and said, oh my God, it's not cooked, the fish, send it back, Wolfgang is crazy. And you know, that was only 32 years ago. I mean, at that time, goat cheese was new and sun-dried tomatoes were new, so it was really a complete different world. And I think the way and the speed we have grown over the last 30 years, it's amazing. So that today, we have a great foundation. There's a whole new group of new young chefs coming around and making even more exciting restaurants.
So you had achieved just incredible success before you became an entrepreneur. You're already one of the world's greatest chefs. You're known today as America's #1 chef, and yet you made a pivot and you said, I want to be an entrepreneur. And you went out and you didn't build just one business, you built business after business after business. How many hours of sleep do you get a night?
I think sleeping is overrated, and I tell everybody, you know, we're going to sleep for a long time when we are dead. So I try to stay awake as much as I can. On top of it, I have 2 young sons, 7 and 8 years old, Oliver and Alexander, and 2 older ones, Cameron and Byron. And with the young boys, you know, they get up in the morning, I take them to school, and they don't want to go to sleep at night. Plus, the restaurant business is at night. So I'm not sitting in an office somewhere and say, okay, it's 5 o'clock, I'm going home. To me, it's important to be with the guests at night.
So you're involved in the creation of the products, and,
Yeah.
and you've created so many innovations in this casual dining world of bringing the gourmet experience to it.